Greetings, I'm Jason and welcome to my comic book reviews. A bit later than usual, but it was a massive week this week, so it took me a bit longer than usual to get through all my books. This week's video is going to be a monster as well, so to try and keep it as short as possible, I'm just going to try and keep my reviews to the point this week. I'll still say everything I want to say about the books, but I'll just try and keep each review a bit shorter. So we kick off this week's reviews with a book from last week. It is Batman Eternal, issue number 21. I'm glad I didn't get this last week, because I don't know how I would have picked between this and Future's End for my pick of the week, because this was another really excellent book. A great way to kick off this week's Monster Haul reading this. It was really good. The art by Jason Fabok was just gorgeous. We've got a kind of a turn here and a couple of big reveals. Everything just happened, and this was probably my favourite issue of this series to date. It was just really good stuff, and I'd give Batman Eternal issue number 21 a definite 5 stars out of 5. So moving on then to Batman Eternal issue number 22. I've read these two back to back. We meet our two new villains a bit more in here. The one you can see on the cover there, the Architect. My first overriding kind of feeling reading this is initially with the art I struggled. It took me maybe a few pages to kind of get into the art, and I think that's because I read them back to back and the art is very different in the two books, and so it did raise in my mind, I wonder how this is going to work in trade with the art from each issue being so different. The story itself in here I really enjoyed. Love seeing the team up between Batman and Julia, Alfred's daughter. Thought that was really cool. The Architect looks an interesting villain, as does our other villain, and the story just was really moving nicely along. I did have a bit of confusion as to who the two characters we see at the beginning were, whose building it was, and it felt like I should know who they are, but I didn't. So yeah, that was a bit of a disconnect. But other than that, I really enjoyed this issue, and I'd give Batman Eternal issue number 22 4 stars out of 5. So moving now to Black Widow issue number 10. Phil Notta's art in here is still gorgeous. He not only does the art, he does the inks and the colours, but it's just a totally unique kind of book. You look at the art and the way the light kind of tone to the colours, almost a kind of like a watercolour kind of effect. But yeah, I'm loving the art in this book, still really great. The story of this issue was really good. We have one bit in the past where Black Widow, when she worked for the Soviets, has to get this guy out of Pakistan, and it's Hawkeye who's trying to stop her. And then you've got the current day stuff, what's going on with Isaac. Both stories I really enjoyed, and it ends with me really anticipating next issue. That's, I think, 2 issues in a row. This has been really strong, so I think keeps this up, I'm definitely going to be adding this to my pull list. So I'd give Black Widow issue number 10 5 stars out of 5. Next up we have Grayson, Future's End, issue number 1. As you can see, we have the 3D cover there. This issue is a bit of a mixed bag. I love the structure of the story of starting in the past and starting in the future, and working all the way backwards to the past. I loved that. I thought it was a really good idea, and they used it really well in this one-shot kind of deal. It worked well. What I didn't like, I wasn't overly keen on the artist, and I was a bit confused with the whole Spiral thing, because I thought it was only a short-term deal, him being in Spiral, to kind of find what's going on. But for 5 years later, he's still there, and you got the war going on. Wouldn't he have gone back to Gotham and the Bat family if there's a war going on? So yeah, there was a couple of things there that did confuse me a little bit. But overall, I enjoyed it, and I'd give Grayson, because I think the good and the bad levels itself out, I'd give Grayson Future's End issue number 1 3 stars out of 5. Next up we have Justice League issue number 33. This book I feel is getting a bit too cluttered. I think there's a bit too much going on. When we were focusing purely on Lex Luthor joining the Justice League, and how Superman and Flash go, and Captain Cold joins the team as well, when we had all that going on, that was really good. But now we've got Power Ring in there, we've got the Doom Patrol, and we've got the Justice League as well. It just felt a bit crowded, this issue, with so much going on. Love the art in this book by Doug Mackey. I think that's really great, and I also really liked the dynamic between Batman and Lex Luthor. I thought that was really cool as well. And I'd give Justice League issue number 33 4 stars out of 5. We then move on to Future's End, issue number 18. This issue really is another strong issue. All the fallout from last issue's big reveals is handled really well. We then jump into a new reveal, which is just awesome. And yeah, I just really enjoyed this issue. The only thing that would let it down is the art, which I didn't really think was that strong. But other than that, the actual story is really great. And 2 issues in a row, we've got no Frankenstein, but they've been managed to pull out 2 awesome stories, which I think is a really great achievement for this book. And I'd give Future's End, issue number 18, 4 stars out of 5. Moving on now to the 3D covers. First up, we have Aquaman. And to say I was disappointed with this one would be an understatement. On the cover there, you can see it says one shot. Okay? When you get to the last page of this issue, at the bottom there, it says continued in Aquaman and the others. It's a one shot. Doesn't that mean that it should be a one and done story, not that it's part 1 of a 2-part story? Surely that's a mini-series. So yeah, I was a bit pissed when I got to the end and saw that, because I thought I was getting a complete story here. Likewise, there were a lot of things in here I didn't like. It felt like we were just throwing all the characters that we'd seen in Aquaman thus far, bringing them back and throwing them at Aquaman. I didn't like the fact that Aquaman and Mera had split up. I really like their relationship, and I really like Mera. So that was really a bit weird, and I didn't like what had happened to Mera. The one good thing I did like was Aquaman's outfit. I thought was really cool. His future outfit, and I wouldn't mind seeing that again. But other than that, I felt this was a real disappointment. Even though there was an attempt at a good story, it just felt like they were throwing everything from the past, and it didn't really build up this future world any. And I'd give Aquaman Future's End issue number 1, I'd give it 2 stars out of 5. Next up, we have the Batman Detective Comics, and you have a disappearing Riddler on that cover. This issue I really enjoyed. It's a one-shot story, has that feel, it has a beginning and an end. It ties into the annual, which is written by the same guy, Brian Buccellato. So that was cool, how they tied it into the annual. I liked the dynamic between Batman and Riddler. I thought they made a good team, and I liked the twist at the end. It has absolutely nothing to do with Future's End, but it was a good story, an enjoyable story, so, you know, it had that going for it. And I'd gripe about the art, because you've got 3 artists, so you've got quite a few art changes. But the story, it didn't really damage the story any, because we were changing scenes anyway. And yeah, it did. Although the art was very different, I didn't feel it hurt the story. And I'd give Batman Detective Comics Future's End issue number 1 4 stars out of 5. Moving on now to my pick of the week, and it is Green Arrow, Future's End issue number 1. That's better. So yeah, this book, if you're enjoying Future's End and you only buy one of the Future's Ends, these issues, buy this one. This is set before Future's End 1. If you've read issue 18, you'll know which character returns. This is set before issue 1 and explains everything that you need to know and fills in some gaps that there are in Future's End. So I really liked that. I think it's a shame that because there are some people who won't know, and that's going to be a shame that they're going to miss out. But I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was really good. Sorrentino, Lemire and Maiolo, they make a really great team, that trio do, and I'm going to really miss them on this book. They've done such a fantastic job with taking one of my favourite characters and making him great again. I loved the story, and it kind of brings together a lot of the stuff that we saw during their run, so it's a fantastic way to kind of end their run, and I really enjoyed this. Thought it was fantastic. I'd give Green Arrow Future's End issue number 1 my pick of the week. Our final 3D cover this week is Swamp Thing. And this is written by Charles Soule with art by Jesus Sayers. The art is absolutely brilliant. You know, for each environment he changes the colours and the look for every single environment. So as you get to different parts of the story, it has a different feel and a different vibe. The story itself is brilliant. It's the last quest of Swamp Thing, as he has his last mission, and it's a great kind of thing to set in the future. Again, much like Detective Comics, you don't really get to see much of the world or get a feel for what Future's End world is like. But this was a really great one and done story that felt like if they were going to write the last days of Swamp Thing, this is what it would be. Charles Soule, as always, is fantastic, written fantastically, and yeah, I really enjoyed this, and I'd give Swamp Thing Future's End issue number 1 5 stars out of 5. If you've been enjoying Charles Soule run on Swamp Thing, definitely pick up this because it's a really good story. Next up, moving to Marvel now, we have Uncanny X-Men issue number 25, and at last they've read the will of Charles Xavier, or wow, part of it anywho. The kind of reveal, I didn't find that big of a reveal because I kind of had figured out something was going on there already. I liked the moral dilemma that they put Xavier in, and that was really interesting. I liked some of the character moments we had here in the quieter moments, like between Nightcrawler and Kitty Pryde, and between Cyclops and Storm. I didn't like Cyclops' outburst during the whole reading of the will. I didn't like that. But I like the way this book's going, and I thought this was really good. I really enjoyed it, and at last the story seems to be moving, and I'd give Uncanny X-Men issue number 25 4 stars out of 5. Moving on now to Legendary Star-Lord issue number 3. This was another really good issue. In fact, I was really surprised how good this was. The artwork by Paco Medina was just brilliant. I really enjoyed the story. It was a fun story. I enjoyed the cameo from Kitty Pryde. I thought that was really cool, and you know, I liked that we got to see the orphanage again from the first issue, so that was really good tying it in. And while the book is a lot of fun at the moment, you can see that there's a bit of dark coming in the future. I really enjoyed this. Really evokes the spirit of the film, so if you enjoyed Guardians of the Galaxy the movie, this is definitely a well worth book picking up. And I'd give Legendary Star-Lord issue number 3 5 stars out of 5. Next up, we have Superior Spider-Man issue number 2099 issue number 3. I really enjoyed this one. I like Peter David's writing a lot, and again in this book, we don't have the biggest cast of characters, but what we do have he uses brilliantly. We get a bit of fallout from last issue first to deal with, and that's great. And then we get like this whole moral dilemma that Spider-Man is in. And the fact that you have people, he's on like the one side of this dilemma and somebody else is on the other side, so you've got that they can go back and forth on this. I really liked, and it all centers around, should you intervene, should you help a country that is in civil war, or should you leave them to it? Should you arm one side against the other, you know, or should you just leave them to it? And I like the kind of moral arguments there. That was really good. We get a reimagining of our old Batman villain, which was really cool. And by the end of it, whole hell's breaking loose, and I'm just really looking forward to the next issue. I didn't feel Will Shinny's art in this one was as strong as previous issues, but it wasn't really bad either. Just wasn't as strong as we've come to expect. But another really good issue. I like how things are building, and I give Spider-Man 2099 issue number 3 4 stars out of 5. Next up, we have The Punisher issue number 10. Frank's in jail in Costa Rica, and I really loved all the happenings there. Though I'm intrigued to see what Punisher is up to. I really liked revisiting Los Angeles and seeing what's happened to Officer Stone, to Leo, and to what's left of the Dos Souls gang. So yeah, this was a really good issue of Punisher. Really like what they're doing with the book, and I give The Punisher issue number 10 5 stars out of 5. Moving right along to Captain America issue number 24. We're kicking off the march to Axis with this issue. I really like how Falcon steps up this issue and takes on Zola. I liked all the twists and turns. I liked kind of the relationship with Sharon and with Ian. And yeah, this whole book was just a load of fun. It looked beautiful. The art by Karlo Pachenko with colours as well. beautiful colours, lovely palette that they use in this book that works really well for it, and a really shock ending that like really left me puzzled but also excited. I'd give Captain America issue number 24 5 stars out of 5. We then have All New X Factor issue number 13. This was another really good issue. What Peter David does so well is he'll take a character that maybe you don't like or don't care about. He'll find something in that character that's relatable, and then before you know it, you care about that character. And that's what about for most of the characters in this book. Really liking Polaris. I think she's really coming on and really like where she's going. Really like how Quicksilver seems to really be growing up. It was cool to see some of the Inhumans. That was really cool to see this issue. I really liked the scene at the beginning, and I like Gambit kind of putting his foot in it. That was funny. There's a really funny scene between Danger and Warlock, which I really liked. All in all, this was a really enjoyable issue. I don't know if it'd be as enjoyable if you read it by itself and hadn't read the previous 12, because Peter David does do a good thing of where he'll build the story up. But this issue was another really good issue, and I give X Factor issue number 13 5 stars out of 5. Next up we have Iron Fist, the Living Weapon, issue number 6, which I'm just loving the book. I love the fact that they got the one guy, he writes it, he draws it, he inks it, he colours it. It's total creative vision. The story does jump around a lot in this issue, but I managed to keep up with it. I was a bit confused with the one scene where the blind girl strips off and tries to jump Danny's bones. I was a bit confused what was going on there, but well, not what was going on, but why it was going on. When Danny's like on death's door, that's the last thing you kind of want, isn't it? But yeah, the story itself I really like, and it's like our hero now has been knocked down and now he's building himself back up. The villains are all looking like they're victorious and everything's going nicely. So the book's moving along nicely. We're getting to see there's a little bit more to Brenda, and I think there's a lot more to come out with her there. But all in all, I'm really enjoying the book, and give Iron Fist, the Living Weapon, issue number 6, 5 stars out of 5. Next up we have Original Sin, issue number 8, the final issue. I must be honest, I was a bit disappointed with this. While the art, as always, by Mike Diagatto is gorgeous, all the way through this book his art has been superb. It did feel a bit of an anticlimax the way this all kind of ended. We get to find out who the killer is, but yeah, like I say, it just feels a bit of an anticlimax. I like the status quo at the end and how some of the characters, it's going to be interesting where they go now. But like I say, it was a bit disappointing. But I'd give Original Sin, issue number 8, 3 stars out of 5. Our penultimate book this week is Rocket Raccoon. Well, no, not penultimate, I got 3 more, so it's not penultimate yet. Issue number 3 of Rocket Raccoon. This was again was a really fun book. Loving the art and the writing from Scott Young, and the colours work with that well too. It's a really bit of a zany book, you know, but it's really fun at the same time. It's fun, it's zany, but it really has some good storyline going on in here. As you know, Rocket's trying to get to the bottom of these murders that he didn't do, but he's been blamed for. And by the end, everything's come together. I love Rocket and Groot; they go so well together. And yeah, this book's just a lot of fun. And again, it really sums up the feeling of the film. So if you like the film, then definitely check this book out. And I give Rocket Raccoon, issue number 3, 5 stars out of 5. So now I've got it right. This is the penultimate book now. She-Hulk, issue number 8, a Charles Soule book. And again, Charles Soule does this so great. He gets to know his characters and gets into them so great. This issue, Captain America is accused of murder from way back. So he gets She-Hulk to defend him. So that's really cool, and seeing them put the case together, and it's kind of like a superhero legal team, which I just think is, you could see them making a TV show out of that, because there's so much they could do with that. But the way they've got She-Hulk at the moment, I think it would translate well into a TV show. I'm just really enjoying the book. I enjoy, great to see, you know, Javier Pulido on the book after initially criticizing him, but sometimes you don't know how good you got it till you don't have it anymore. So when he kind of swapped artists, we saw, yeah, we'd rather have Pulido. But yeah, this is another really fun, action-packed issue, moves along quickly, and I'm really looking forward to next issue. And it's one of Marvel's few $2.99 books, so it's well worth supporting, and I give issue number 8 of She-Hulk 5 stars out of 5. And finally, we have probably one of the big releases of the week, Death of Wolverine issue number 1. Initially wasn't going to buy this, but then I kind of I saw it was written by Charles Soule with art by Steve McNiven, and it's Wolverine, one of my favourite characters, so I thought, you know what, I'll try it, and I'm glad I did. Charles Soule just totally gets the character and writes him brilliantly. In one page, it explains better why Wolverine is vulnerable, despite, you know, being the best of what he does, why he's vulnerable without his healing factor when other people don't have one. And he explains that perfectly in just one page, more than Cornell's done in 2 years. Also, he still makes Wolverine a badass. There's this like one scene where there's a bounty on Wolverine's head. They want him brought in alive, and so Nuke is going to get this bounty, and he takes some mercenaries, and one by one Wolverine wipes them out. So he swims for this island, and he gets onto the island, Nuke does, and there's all these bodies on the island beach, all these people that have come to take Wolverine, and then out of the water behind him comes Wolverine. I just thought that was a really badass moment, and something we haven't had enough of over the last 2 years with Wolverine's main book. So yeah, I like the balance that Charles Soule's got here, and I'm really interested where the story's going. The art is tremendous by Stephen McNiven, and for the actual story part of the book, I would give this 5 out of 5 because I really enjoyed it, and I think just everything really come together well on the book. Where my gripe would come is that they charge $4.99, and okay, if you're going to charge $4.99, give us more story, and then I'm cool. But no, we get no extra story whatsoever, just all this bonus material at the back. And I might be wrong, but my kind of perception of bonus is that it's extra. It's something you get for nothing. It's a bonus. It's like you go to the shop and you buy some apples and it says, oh, here is a bonus, have an extra apple. You're not paying for that extra apple, that's why it's a bonus. You know, and I think I didn't like the wording, but also it was just, there was some good stuff there, but I just felt for the $4.99 price tag, I wanted more story. It's one of my real gripes and bugbears when they charge more for a book but they don't give you extra story, because that's what you're buying. The bonus materials are extra stuff. That doesn't make it a $4.99 book. So I was a bit disappointed with Marvel there, but they've done Wolverine proud with the story. So yeah. So yeah, that's me done. Those are all my books. I've got through it. My throat is raw now. You wouldn't believe how dry a throat you get, and this is my second take, so I'm all out of drink. So yeah. So that's like what I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna go and get a drink. Thank you very much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you agree or if you disagree with anything I've said, or want to share the books you really enjoyed this week, please comment below, let me know. Also, if you enjoyed the video, please take the second to give me the beautiful thumbs up, so I know you're enjoying what I'm doing. It means so much, yet takes so little time. So yeah, that's pretty much me done. I will be back in a few days with a haul video on New Comic Book Day. It's a shorter week this week, so that's going to be good. So I hope you're all well. I've been Jason. This has been my comic book review video. Bye for now.